We're glad to speak to someone who forms an integral part as far as Kenyan football is concerned, chairperson of both Kenyan Premier League and 16-time KPL champions, Gor Mahia Football Club. Of course, he's also a senior counsel in the Republic of Kenya. That is Mr. Ambrose Rachier. Good to speak to you, sir. How have you been?
Well, I'm doing well so far, despite the pressures that we get from here and there.
By the way, congratulations, Gor Mahia Football Club being the first Kenyan team to qualify to the group stage of Continental Championship, that is CAF Confederations Cup, and it's been pulled alongside other clubs, Yanga, Rayon Sports, and USM Algiers. Ahead of, group ties, there is this dilemma of poor infrastructure in the country, lack of stadiums. Of course, Gor Mahia, I understand, will be playing Rayon Sports of Rwanda then with a return leg slated in a week's time. Maybe in terms of facilities, how is the situation and how will that go a long way in ensuring that, Gor Mahia host their counterparts successfully?
Yeah, thank you. I want to say two things about the football sports facilities in our country at the moment. One of them, of course, is that situation is deplorable. But number two is that we have assurances from the government that these facilities will be available in good time for the future assignments, not only for Gor Mahia Football Club, but for our national team. I say deplorable, one, because looking at Nairobi, there is practically no playable stadium for football apart from the miniature stadium that is the Camp Toyoyo, which is now overused. The others, as you know, the City Stadium is closed, and so are Nyayo and Kasarani. Tusker, Ruaraka is waterlogged, and even for our league matches, talking from a KPL point of view, is really at the moment unplayable. That's talking about Nairobi. And talking about Machakos, it will be noticed that the last match on Sunday involving Gor Mahia and Thika United, and even Ulinzi and Nakumat, were played on a very soggy ground. So in as far as international standards are concerned, we're having a big challenge in terms of these facilities. Going out of Nairobi, as you know, Gor Mahia can only play on certain stadia. Kisumu Stadium is not CAF or FIFA approved. Buhungu is, but again, is overused. That's why I say that this is a deplorable situation. However, in a meeting with the two meetings I have held, both with the cabinet secretary and also the principal secretary, we have been assured that come 9th of May or thereabouts, both Nyayo and Kasarani will be available for international matches. So that assurance is what we want to take and say, if it should happen, then the problem should be over. At one time, you may recall that there was a threat that even the national team playing against Ghana would be taken to Uganda. Yes. Something very laughable. Thank you.
There has been this argument that Gor Mahia Football Club, with a team of its stature and pedigree, ought to be having its own stadium, considering the fanatical, massive following it enjoys across the country, of course, alongside their rivals, FC Leopards. How is the progress in terms of, ensuring that you have your own facility, and probably even as you continue bragging of, having City Stadium as your home ground, probably in terms of renovation works, any kind of update with regards to
yes, I would say this
upgrade?
Let me first of all talk about the Gor Mahia Stadium. The preparations are at advanced stage. We already got land in Kasarani. We are only working on title that was allocated to us by the government several years ago. It has now been identified, some 10-acre piece of land. Secondly, our architectural plans are at a very, very advanced stage, and we are now looking for a partner with whom we can enter into a partnership for the development of the stadium, and of course agreement for the sharing of any revenue that should be generated by the stadium. So that's as far as Gor Mahia Stadium is concerned. Other thing that happened is that recently, upon calling on the governor of Nairobi and making a request that some work, that the renovation of the city stadium be done or be carried out, he assured us that he has already engaged contractors, international contractors, to undertake the renovation of the Nairobi City Stadium. So again, we wait to see how far that goes. Thank you.
And of course, talk to us about the controversy that surrounded the team prior. You were traveling to South Africa when you were just about SuperSport United in a return leg fixture of CAF Confederations Cup. The Nairobi County Governor Mike Sonko had to come to your rescue in terms of sorting your traveling expenses, and it is something that has attracted and has elicited mixed reactions among Kenyan football followers who think that Gor Mahia Football Club is such a prestigious institution and they ought to have put in place self-sustaining structures to enable them self-reliant rather than or seeking donations from well-wishers during dire moments.
Yeah, thank you very, very, very much. When we were just about to depart to South Africa, we had two major challenges. One was that of air tickets to enable us to travel in good time to play SuperSport in Pretoria. Excuse me. The second one was of getting visas to enable entry into South Africa. Let me start with the latter. The dates for these tournaments are normally given on a very short notice. For example, we had to go and play Rwanda, Rayon Sports in Rwanda on 6th of May. And this we only knew about last Saturday. So you always see the time constraint that you hardly have 2 weeks to plan.
Yes.
I want that to really sink to people who are the stakeholders who are concerned. But I'm giving an example. 6th of May, we should be playing Rayon Sports. And there's a host of requirements that we need to comply with. One of them are visa conditions. So we only knew about the return date 2 weeks. In fact, after we had played our match is when we were told that SuperSport have chosen 18th of April as the day for the match. So we then immediately applied for the visas, but then we met the challenges. When we were called for the interview, on a day when we were actually playing at Machakos. So I couldn't take the players there to go for the interview, and the whole lot had to be interviewed one by one. So when we went the following day, the next challenge was that, look, you people, we have applied late, you are late. So the date of our appearance is the date which was being taken as the date of our application. We had submitted the papers earlier. So we had to use all interventions to be able to get this. In fact, we did not get visas until the afternoon of Tuesday, about 3 o'clock, when we but on that evening to play the following day. So you can see the challenge of getting visas. We had to go as high as the State House to try to see that we could get those visas. Otherwise, we were going to fail to go, because if we did not fly there on Tuesday night, there was no way we were going to play on Wednesday. So that was one. The second one was, again, almost tragic. In the past two trips that we have made out of the country, the first one to Malabo in Equatorial Guinea, and the second one to Tunis to play Esperance,
yes,
the government was kind enough to extend to us air tickets to and from. And we made the same assumption that they were going to do the same on this trip, because nothing had changed. But alas, on Friday of the last week, we were told that no such thing was going to happen, that the tickets were not going to be available. So you will see, we had set our program to leave on Monday morning. The result is that it was a weekend, and it was only the Monday morning that we could begin again looking around to say we don't have tickets. Now, and that's why we want to thank the governor of Nairobi, Mike Mbuvi Sonko, for coming to our aid in such a dire situation. The last part of it, of course, is important. We should have been prepared for that. But you also understand that we've been relying on sponsorship, and that the sponsors had withdrawn. It was only yesterday that we got the sponsors back. So we could not have had any better preparation than what we had. Thank you.
Before we talk about the renewal of SportPesa in terms of funding your activities, talk to us about any efforts being made in terms of putting in place mechanisms to enable Gor Mahia self-reliant.
We have already embarked upon membership drive, where the Barcelona style, and this is picking up. I think as at today, we've been able to raise about 611,000 shillings from the members. So that, if we continue, our aim is to get 1 million members. If you get 1 million members paying you, the live membership is 100,000 shillings. Ordinary membership is only 1,200 for the whole year. And then we have categories of 10,000, 20,000, and 50,000 shillings. So if we get 1 million people paying even 10,000 shillings, you can see we will be having a lot of good money, but it is difficult to persuade people yet. So we are still campaigning.
Good news, one of the leading betting firms, SportPesa, are now renewing sponsorships for football entities, Gor Mahia inclusive. What do you make of that particular development going forward now?
We are very happy with the move made by SportPesa to come to the rescue of many teams. Even talking from the point of view of the Kenyan Premier League, a lot of teams were suffering because they rely wholly or solely on this sponsorship. And we were getting about 600,000 shillings per month. That was used by a number of clubs for purposes of running the club.
Yes. We
have gained immensely also, in the sense that apart from sponsorship, we have also been getting the same amount. So we welcome them back on their sponsorship of the Kenyan Premier League. As far as Gor Mahia is concerned, there's been a lot of controversy about why we are being given more money than anybody else. In fact, the federation was saying, how can you, because the federation money is about 69 million,
yes,
and Gor Mahia is 63 million. We were saying, how can you be giving Gor Mahia 63 million shillings and giving the federation 69 million? Because the federation gets money from FIFA.
True.
And from CAF. So this is just supplemental to them. For us, this is the main sponsor. So I think that comparison is out of a kind of consonance with the reality. The same, of course, was said about Kenyan Premier League. There are a lot of voices saying, how can Gor be getting 63 million and Kenyan Premier League getting only 80 million? I advance the same argument that KPL should be having other sources. Apart from title sponsor, there are broadcast sponsors, etc. But finally, of course, it's a sponsor who knows where they get value most.
True.
Yes, if there was no value from Gor Mahia, they would not be getting that, because you will ask yourself, why are they giving Ingwe less than that? I had asked them that, but they said, look, we have our own way of assessing where to put what. That's the answer that I got from one of them. But why don't you give us both the same amount? They say, well, I asked them, is it because we have more funds? You say, leave that to us.
They know the value they get in return from Gor Mahia Football Club.
I think so.
KPL, body also share a big boost for them. They also got in some sponsorship from SportPesa.
From SportPesa, 80 million shillings per year. So that should be 3 years, you be about 240 million.
Yes. And
that's what helps us to do administration, pay staff, pay rent at the KPL, and also to organize these league matches, which you see we have been organizing even without the sponsorship, and it has been very hard on us.
Some tragic news last weekend, an unfortunate incident that saw Gor Mahia Football Club followers, 4 of them, losing their lives on their way to Machakos at Kenyatta Stadium to watch their team, play against Thika United. Maybe some sort of message in terms of caution they should apply before, during, and even after the match for their safety.
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, my very sincere condolences to the families that are bereaved. Number two, the issue of hanging on buses or getting on top of buses or mini buses that are transporting our fans is something that we have addressed before. It's not the first time that our fans have died in such circumstances. And we are continuing with the education to educate our fans to please desist from hanging on public transport or even getting on top of the buses. We hope this message will one day sink so that we can avoid these kind of tragedies. That is the message that I could send out.
Finally, Godfrey Walusimbi, the influential left back at the team, has indicated that no pay, no play. I have previously interviewed CEO of the club, Lord Vikaduda, who has indicated that they are soon settling the issue of the player. From where you sit, what's the situation like, and how is the progress in terms of,
yes, thank
resolving
you very much.
this?
Yeah, thank you very, very, very much. We actually had no and have had no dispute with the player. So much goes on social media and
blogs.
I have blogs. So I'm happy you're asking me this question because I can then answer you straight.
Yes.
Olusimbi's contract ended sometime in the middle of January, on 22nd January. And we agreed to pay him a certain amount for renewal of the contract. And he gave us, we said, look, we're going to pay you 2/3 of the amount which we paid on the spot. He then gave us 1 month to be able, so he said, I'm going to play for 1 month, gave us 1 month to be able to pay that balance, which is 1/3. And all we did was to tell him, look, we don't have it at the moment, and with these international campaigns, we actually could not be able to raise that 1/3. And he opted that, said, okay, when you get it, pay me, I'll come back. And that has been the situation so far. There is no altercation, nothing. He said, look, I'll come back when. So we have continued to pay him his salary, that thing. And we have been looking for that money. And we may be able to pay him soon, and he may be able to resume soon. So I want to make it as simple as that. It was his right to say, I will stay away, because it's a contractual right.
Yes.
Yeah, trying to. So he's not sacked. And despite not even playing, not practicing, his salaries are up to date. So that's where we are.
There's no.
So my idea is just to. I'm working very, very hard to get that amount. I call it 1/3 because I think for confidentiality purposes, I don't want to talk about the sums. But we paid him 2/3, and there's 1/3 that is outstanding. I'm about to get it. I'm chasing it very hard, and as you see, Sport Pesa is back, and I may just be able to raise it and resolve the problem.
Do you think his absence at the club has been an undoing to the performance?
So. I don't think so. We normally have, for us in Gor Mahia, in each and every position we have 3 players. Each, you can study it very well.
Yes.
From goalkeeper, from left, when I have Walusimbi, I have Onguso, I have Asudi. Okay? When I get to central, I would have Shakava there, I have Joash Onyango, I have Joachim Onwoj. I think you see 3. When I'm in this midfield, I have Wendo, I have CCD, I have Mieno. Okay? So when you get to striking, I have Tuisenge, I have Kagere, I have Wikan.
And Blackberry
On the
flanks.
Blackberry and Kahata will be on the flanks. Boniface Watch will be on Boniface Omoni will be on the other side with Samuel Onyango. So you see, in each and every position, I am not starved of the players.
Overall, your parting shot with regards to state of Kenyan football?
Okay, let me talk about 3 platforms at the Kenyan Premier League level. Can we have the Stadia done and the corporate world coming in to support other clubs also, not just Gor Mahia? All other clubs should be able to get a sponsor to give fair competition. That's one thing I want to say from the platform of Kenyan Premier League. From the platform of the national, at the national level, I think we need to stabilize the Harambee Stars. We need to stabilize the Harambee Stars, get a coach, and get structures in place so that we are able to have a national team that is well ranked. And from the club point of view, that is from Gor Mahia, I want to just encourage my team to continue performing as best as they can with discipline. I did actually talk to you when we were talking about some of the parameters of success. It's discipline.
Yes.
It's the discipline of players. Thank you. So that is what I would want to say.
A man with 4 names, Ambrose Dixon, Otieno Rachier, of course a lawyer by profession and a stakeholder of Kenyan football, chairperson of both Kenya Premier League and Gor Mahia Football Club, 16-time KPL champion, speaking to the touchline on Y254. My name is Maxwell. Wasike, of course, talking to us with regards to several issues: sport, pesa, renewal of their sponsorship, title bid of Gor Mahia, even as bandits steep them to be crowned champions of KPL for record 17th time. Their ambition in terms of continental football, considering that they are the first Kenyan team to advance to the group stage of CAF Confederations Cup, and is buoyant that they can, sparkle and break the jinx of an awful show as far as Kenyan team participation in African championships.